welcome back to another video with Hey It's Jay, a channel where we react to all things Indian content related. Videos, trailers, memes, movies, we do reactions, reviews, video essays. There is a video that's going to link or pop up here somewhere with a link to my intro video that goes through everything that we do on this channel. So what are we going to actually be looking at today? So there's this little small company, Jio. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's owned by a guy named Mukesh Ambani. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's just, one of the richest people in the world. They've basically announced that they're going to be unveiling 100 new movies, web series, shows, and things like that over the near future. And with that came the announcement of a few films and a few teasers here and there as well. So without further ado, let's jump into it. We'll break down a lot of what happened at the event, what are some upcoming projects, my thoughts on them, some things on the wider Stree Bhediya universe as well. And there's also two Shahid Kapoor movies, one of which has a teaser that's already released, which we're going to react to right now. We'll also discuss what that second film is, what the story might be about, and who's in it. Plus, there's a bunch of other announcements for the Jio platform that's going to be great to speak about, so we'll get to that in the end of the video, so be sure to stick around. But for now, let's get into the reaction. Where that is it Dubai or something? Man, he looks good in the suit. He always has. So suave. This is a good look for him. Hey! Action! Well, it's intense. It's giving me kind of a spy John Wick vibe. Hey, Shahid Kapoor! Mafia. Oh, they don't do many sick mafia stories. Whoa, the scale looks pretty big. Hey. That's hype. Zafar, 9th June. Wow, that's soon. Okay, that was a fun teaser. It was pretty intense. I'm trying to think, has Shahid Kapoor done an outright action film? I'm thinking Heather, I'm thinking Gamine, but they weren't really outright action films. So this might be the first time. If I'm wrong, comment down below. But it's really cool to see him in this avatar. Now I'm thinking about it, why hasn't he done this sooner? He really has that lean, athletic build that really suits itself to a suave spy. I know he's not a spy in this film because this seems to be more of a mafia family-driven story, but he just pulls it off in the suit, definitely giving us John Wick vibes, and I'm not complaining. I think we need more heroes like that in Indian cinema, so I'm really excited to see that. Let's take a moment. That background music, that was awesome, really hyping, elevating those scenes up. This seems like it's going to be pretty gory as well. I mean, the film's called Bloody Daddy. We've also got at the director's seat Ali Zafar, who I'm sure you're aware of, but has made Sultan, one of the Tiger films, I think Bharat as well. He's obviously very familiar with the action genre. I think it's really cool to see him in this space. I guess one thing that's confusing me a little bit is this going straight to streaming. I saw this online as well before I even watched this teaser, and I kind of have to agree with it. This does look like it would be pretty fun on the big screen, but maybe it just comes down to the fact, does Shahid have that pull? We had him recently do the film Jersey. It underperformed, especially after the success of Kabir Singh, which was just astronomical. But I think Jersey was also placed quite difficult in terms of the COVID climate at the time. So, you can forgive that a little bit. But nonetheless, it's great to see him in this avatar. I think the way they're filming this is it's good. It's different. The trailer obviously had a lot of quick cuts, so it was hard to keep up with what was happening. Definitely saw a few other stars in there. Ronit Roy is terrifying. He can be so scary sometimes. I know he gets typecast into that role a fair bit, but it's because he's so good at it. Him and Kabul just still, I get uncomfortable watching that movie. He's that good. Even in a film like Two States, where he's not even as bad as the character in Kabul, he's still just so scary. so it's great to see him here. Sanjay Kapoor had one line, funny. I was getting vibes of his character in Shandar. Now, I don't know if that's because it seems like a similar character, or is Sanjay Kapoor just not the best actor that he seems the same in both films. Could be both, could be one or the other. No hate to Sanjay Kapoor, he's a really good sport. I like him. I don't think I saw, there was no female lead in the teaser, I don't think. Let me just check the description. Nah, it doesn't seem to be a female lead in the movie, which is fine. I guess it kind of makes sense. Maybe this film will be a bit of a shorter runtime. Maybe it's got a tight pace. Maybe there won't be many songs. And I think that kind of suits this sort of film genre a little bit as well. Also taking a moment to appreciate Shahid Kapoor's acting. You know, it's obviously a short teaser, but two things that really stood out to me. There was a scene when he's going to the window and it's just this... He looks unhinged, frankly. He looks quite ferocious, is probably the right word to use. And it's really cool to see him in that avatar. We have seen this range of him before, you know, shades of it in things like Uttar Punjab or Heather towards the end, where he really has this great way of portraying someone who's unhinged, borderline at that chaos level. I think he's really good at that. So he's been really well cast for this film, and he's doing a really good job. Even that scene in the mirror where he's flaring his collar, he doesn't look like a straight shooter. He looks unhinged. So I think we might have a bit of an anti-hero on our hands, so seeing that will be interesting. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, there is actually a second film announced for Shahid Kapoor. It doesn't have a name yet, but it is starring Kriti Sanon. Now, rumor has it she's actually going to be playing a robot in this film. Now, Bollywood hasn't done too much in this category. The last kind of romance I remember with a robot involved, there might have been one recently, but the one that comes to mind is Love Story 2050 with Priyanka and Herman Boeja, was that his name? Anyway, we all know how that one, let's not talk about it. Yeah, but this could be a really interesting, unique concept, and it's an interesting pair. I like seeing fresh pairs. You know, we recently saw Ranbir and Shraddha in Tu Jhuti Main Makar. I liked that as a fresh pairing. Shahid and Kriti, that's a fresh pairing as well, so it'll be good to see them on screen. Now, as mentioned at the start of the video, Jio announced that they will now be basically managing the expansion of the Stree universe with Stree 2 and Bhediya 2. Now, frankly, I think this was the right call to move this universe onto a streaming platform. We saw Bhediya underperform. They haven't shared what the actual budget was, but I believe in India it made about 60 odd crores, and I imagine the budget could not have been less than that. It would have been about that, if not more. And I think that at best makes it an average grosser, and at worst makes it an outright flop. So I think moving it to streaming was the right call. I think that it might be able to find an audience there. Similarly with Stree, even though Stree was a box office hit the first time around, and it was a good film, I enjoyed it, I do feel the horror comedy genre, though, post-pandemic isn't performing at all. We've seen a lot of films in a similar nature just not hit the mark. Even take Bhediya, for example, you know, had Varun Dhawan, Kriti Sanon, a huge VFX push for it, massive marketing, and it still didn't make those numbers. So maybe moving to OTT is the right decision. And maybe something they can consider is by releasing a Stree 2 and a Bhediya 2, fleshing out the universe a little bit more on streaming, where I'm assuming it's a bit of a lower risk for them financially. They can build up, you know, fans, they can build up a following of this universe, and then maybe the large crossover event, the Avengers equivalent event for this comedy Stree horror comedy universe. Maybe they can release that one in the cinema, and that might actually be able to hit that mark in terms of box office, because the hype will be there. They would have built it. It's sort of similar to how Disney Plus releases the shows and then they tie into a bigger film. Maybe they can try a strategy like that. Oh, and on a side note, Vikram Vedha, the Hindi version with Hrithik and Saif, is finally coming to OTT after being out for... It came out months ago in cinemas, so I think they were waiting for this Jio platform to launch before they released it, but nonetheless, it's long overdue to see this film on OTT. I went to the cinemas to watch it as a fan of Hrithik and Saif, as well as a fan of the original. I thought it was great. I think they did a faithful adaptation. I understand it underperformed in the box office because, you know, people aren't satisfied with remakes all the time, and the original Vikram Vedha was available on so many different platforms to watch in many different languages, so I understand why it maybe didn't perform, but nonetheless, it'll be great to finally have it on a streaming platform. Okay, so that brings us to the end of another video. Thanks so much for tuning into Hey It's Jay. If you liked the video, please drop a like. If you have any questions, suggestions, anything you enjoyed in this video that you want to share with me, drop a comment down below. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe and we'll become best friends. I'll see you in the next video.